Hello, everyone. My name is Clayton Norman. I am the social media and digital marketing leader here at Indiana University. And thank you all for joining us today. We are here to take your questions from incoming students, parents, about everything that you need to know about starting IU and coming to start your career at Indiana University. We're here with representatives from IU admissions, from IU residential programs and services, and we also have a wonderful student ambassador here to answer any questions from a student perspective that you guys want to throw at us. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves here in just a moment. But in the meantime, if you have questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments. We will be trying to take as many of your questions live as we possibly can, but some of those questions we'll also be responding to down in the comments. We'll also be dropping links to useful websites, videos, and other content that you might find helpful into the comments as well. So make sure that you're scrolling through those comments and checking them out. If you have a question, if you've tuned in a little bit late, some of your questions may have already been answered. Otherwise, we will try to get to as many of these as we can. We've got about an hour for this whole discussion. So we really look forward to hearing from all of you. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sarah Ivy Lucas to kick us off with introductions.
Thank you, Clayton. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Ivy Lucas, and I am the Director for Residential Life and an Assistant Dean on the IU campus. I'm also a two-time alum of Indiana University and a great fan of our residence halls and IU dining. So happy to answer any and all questions about those topics.
And Jill, do you want to go ahead and give us an intro?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jill Shemick. I'm a Senior Assistant Director of Admissions for IU. I work specifically with students from the Mid-Atlantic, but I'm excited to be talking to everyone this afternoon. And I am a one-time alum of IU. I have my master's degree from Indiana University.
Nice. Thank you, Jill, and thank you for joining us. And Tyra Rose, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Tyra Rose. I'm currently a senior here at IU, double majoring in theater and sociology. And yes, I'm happy to be here and answer any of you guys' questions from a student perspective.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And the questions are already starting to come in. So I'm going to take a look here. We have a question already coming in from Jeff. Jeff asks, I have a student trying to decide about IU and have a question about if Monroe County is going to follow along with the rest of the state, or if they are going to allow the local climate to control the decisions. Just want to preface that by saying we don't have any control here at IU over what Monroe County decides to do, but we do, of course, work very closely with both our City of Bloomington and Monroe County health partners. But Sarah, I think maybe you might have a little insight into that and can speak to that a little bit better than me.
Sure. I've been very impressed with our campus relationship with the city and the county. We have a weekly meeting that involves the residence halls, the Greek system on campus, a number of other campus partners, the Student Health Center, and then, of course, our mitigation testing team and other representatives who are working to keep campus safe. And that group is in regular communication with the county and the city to try to manage what the rules are and how we want to respond. The city and the county do trust our data significantly, since we make up almost 50% of the county's population. So we don't have exclusive rights to the driver's seat in the rules and regulations of our local area, but we are a good community partner in that. And I trust the judgments that are being made.
Great, thank you. And of course, we will be keeping an eye on things around the university, and no final decisions have been made yet about what steps will be taken in the fall. That's very much an evolving conversation. and we will be making the best decision that we can to ensure the health and safety of everyone in the IU community. So just stand by on that, and we'll definitely see how things develop. Sarah, I think this is another one from you for you. This is from Jack, and Jack's asking about when he might hear back about his housing application.
Oh, great question, Jack. Our housing applications are open from now through until the start of the school year. The priority deadline for turning in the application is May 1st, along with the enrollment deposit deadline. So please keep turning in your housing applications as soon as you feel willing to commit. Our plan then is that we will begin to notify students in mid-June of their initial housing assignment. That initial housing assignment will let you know if you chose one of our learning communities, whether or not you've been placed in that learning community, and then the general location by center. So we have a total of 14 residence centers on campus, and you will know which one of those you have been placed in. Assignments will come out on a rolling basis. So the earlier students have applied, the more quickly they will hear, but that mid-June is when it will start. And then it's generally late July when we notify students about who their roommate is and a specific room number. So don't get too anxious. It takes us a while to get everybody assigned, because that is still a largely small group and manual process with student assignments. So we can try to match everybody to the best location based on their preferences.
Awesome. Thank you. So while we have you talking, Sarah, don't mute yourself yet. Two more, and then we'll move on to make sure that we cover some other topics too. But one is very simple. When is move-in day going to be for freshmen? And then another is a question about how to get dorm preferences or ensure that they get the neighborhood or room type that they would like.
Sure. So I'll start with that assignments question first on that theme. The best thing that you can do is put your preferences in and let us know what they are. And then we will be this year kind of separating out what students identify as a cost category or any special amenity needs that they might have, and then working on the neighborhood preference. One of the best ways to get your neighborhood preference is to look at the learning communities that are offered in that neighborhood, because learning communities are a high priority for us at Indiana University. We think that's a great way to make the IU community a little bit smaller and to get a good home feel and some good community connection with your neighbors. So look at those learning communities, and that could help you get your neighborhood preference. In terms of the campus move-in date, as Clayton and I just alluded to, that's still just a little bit to be determined at this point in time. We're waiting for the campus restart committee guidance to come out officially, which will give us some information about how we might need to de-densify our move-in process, what some of those move-in expectations will look like. And we're hopeful that between the early part of May and the early part of June, we should be able to give lots more details to families to get settled on those pieces.
Great, thank you. Moving on, here's a question from Natalie and Jill. I think this one is coming to you. Natalie is not an in-state student and is asking, what should I do as far as transferring my dual enrollment credits over to IU? I go to high school in Arizona, so I'm not sure how that works.
All right, that's a great question, Natalie. Thanks so much. So IU has a very generous credit transfer policy. You can see some of our credit transfer policies on our website, admissions.indiana.edu. If you look for help with credit transfer, the biggest piece of advice I can give is once you've completed all of your in-progress dual enrollment classes, have the college or university that is going to award you those credits, have them send us an official final transcript. And so once those classes and grades are finalized, have a transcript sent to us. If it's a class that's offered at IU or a similar class that's offered at IU and you've received a grade of C or higher in it, you will likely receive some sort of IU credit for that. So definitely send that transcript to us as soon as it's available so that we can get that credit articulated and loaded into your student portal.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. Next question comes from Sally. Sally is asking, I have a sophomore who will be returning in the late fall or in the fall. Is the school going to mandate that all students take the vaccine before returning to school in the fall? And if not, what are plans to keep everyone safe? So I can take the first part of that real quick. That is unfortunately still TBD in terms of whether the vaccine will be mandated. That decision has not been made yet. It's very much, I would say, I'm sure it's a topic of discussion every single day amongst our leadership, and that we expect that a decision about that should be made at some point during the spring. So, absolutely understand that people are concerned about that and the safety concerns that go with, ensuring that people are healthy and safe. So, we'll be lots of discussions will be going on about that, and we hope to have a decision, sooner rather than later. So hopefully you'll bear with us on that, Sally. And then Sarah, I think, or I guess probably Sarah can speak to, a little bit more about, at least in terms of housing, some of the precautions that we can expect in the fall.
Sure. So again, waiting for that restart committee guidance, but making plans to incorporate some of the safety features that we've had this year. So being prepared that we might continue our mitigation testing protocols. Certainly within the residence halls, we're prepared to continue to have quarantine and isolation housing for students who are identified as being sick so that we can give them a safe place to move through that process and not create risk for other students. So we're continuing to wait, but also planning for some of that great level of work that we've done this year to minimize risk on the IU Bloomington campus.
Great, thank you. Jill, I think this next one might be more in your wheelhouse. Carly's asking if, can you start out as an in-person student for your first year and then get your degree online after that?
Sure, that's a good question. So that through IU Bloomington, that may not be possible. IU does have online degree completion programs. A lot of those programs are through some of the other campuses in the IU system. I know IU East houses a lot of our online degree completion programs. And so that would be an option for you. But through Bloomington, through the IU Bloomington campus, we don't have many options for students who want to finish their degree online.
All right, thank you. Jill, I think this is also coming your way. Lulu asked, planning to start my MSW this fall. By when should I expect to see emails regarding financial advisors or classes, and when should I apply for loans?
So since our Office of Admissions works primarily with undergraduate students, I would direct you to the IU Graduate School, which will have more information specifically for graduate students, because your timeline is going to be different than the timeline for undergraduate students. So the IU Graduate School is who you should look for that information.
Yeah, and maybe we should have clarified that up front, that this conversation is primarily geared towards undergrads. Lulu, we will make sure to drop the link to the graduate school into the comments, and so you can follow that link and start to find out a little bit more of that information at this point. Jill, while we're still talking, Abby's asking, do you know if there's a possibility to have new student orientation in person?
Unfortunately, not for this year. We did make the decision fairly early just to help with planning that our Office of First Year Experience would be running virtual orientation this summer. And so last year, it was a really great experience for our incoming freshmen. The Office of First Year Experience has done a great job of trying to get you the same information in a virtual setting. And you will still have an appointment with an advisor so that you can have that one-on-one FaceTime. I know that the Office of First Year Experience last year and probably this year too is still doing putting out a lot of opportunities for students to meet each other virtually through different Zoom nights and game night gatherings and things like that. So you can still meet people before you get to campus. Another great place to find community before you get to IU is through the WISR community, WISR, which all of our admitted students have been invited to join the WISR community. And that would be a great opportunity for you to reach out and connect with the other students who may have similar interests as you before you move into campus.
Nice. Okay, Tyra Rose, I feel like we've been neglecting you a little too long. So here is one that I think came in from our Instagram story question sticker. I guess the first one is, how can I get involved in research as an incoming freshman? I don't know if you can speak to that at all.
Yeah, a little bit. I do know that there are, when you go to your first classes, and if they're like science classes or research classes, most of them for your freshman year will have TAs who can help like direct towards research studies. I know a lot of times the psychology building and departments as well as sociology are also often hosting a lot of research opportunities, ones that students are able to participate in for different incentives. Which is awesome. And then also, if you further want to go into research, I think the biology building does a little bit of that as well. But there's definitely a lot of opportunities. Some of them as well come up during the spring semester and summer semester as well. And then students conduct research with faculty mentors as well. So there's programs like Integrated Freshman Learning Experience or Science, Technology, and Research Scholars, or otherwise known as STARS, where you can like work in labs. And the best way to investigate undergraduate research opportunities is to contact the program or department that you're interested in, and they'll be able to help you there. And definitely a lot of new opportunities come up every semester. So.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to get involved in doing research as an undergrad, there's plenty of opportunities. There's even a journal of undergraduate research that's published, on campus every year. So certainly plenty of ways that you can get in there. Tyra, Tyra Rose, let's keep you going. Another question is about live events and things to do in Bloomington. So how have live in-person events been this year? And beyond those, what other types of things do you like to do around Bloomington, IU Bloomington, or in the community of Bloomington?
Of course, yes. So live events have definitely been altered a little bit differently this year, but the university has done a great job of still being able for students to try to have, some of those social interactions as safely as possible. So one thing that they've done, as I said, I'm a theater student and a part of theater organizations. So something that we've been able to do is take use of the outdoor venues that IU has set up all around campus. So right now, I think they set them up in the fall semester. They have like stages outside in a lot of big green spaces and areas, which there are so many of those on campus. So having those have been really nice. I know a lot of student organizations have taken advantage of that for sure, so that they can still have some of their meetings with a safe distance outside. I know it's becoming spring as well. There's a lot more activity on campus. I know in Eigenmann, I found this out my freshman year, that you can like rent hammocks, and there's like, a whole store in the basement, which who would know that? But so people are hanging up hammocks all over campus. And so that's something that's fun as well. And as far as what I like to do, I definitely love, there's so many restaurants in Bloomington that are unique to the Bloomington town. 4th Street is known for having a lot of different ethnic cuisines and things like that. So I like to eat. So I try out a lot of those new restaurants, and I played sports in college, in high school as well. So I'm always staying up to date on our amazing sports teams. Shout out to the women's team, basketball team who made it to the Elite Eight, which is the first time in program history. So that was amazing. I know a lot of IU students were streaming that in our different spaces, but at the same time. So that was a cool experience, especially having the tournament in Indiana this year. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of ways to still remain engaged. And I think that IU's done a great way, despite, a lot of things being having to move virtual.
Thank you, Tyra Rose, and great shout out for IU Outdoor Adventures, where you can absolutely rent those hammocks to chill out in, and there are hundreds of spots on campus that you can post up and hang out in a hammock, read a good book, or just relax, whatever. You can rent those. They've got a bunch of other gear. It's a really cool program, and we'll also drop the link to their website in the comments here, so anybody who's interested can check that out. Thank you, Tyra Rose. That was wonderful, and thank you for bringing that out, because today, as I was walking over here to this, I walked past Dunn Meadow, and it is just covered with students hanging out, enjoying the sun, studying, hanging out in hammocks. Just a beautiful day to be on campus, and I'm super happy to be back on campus and to see everybody out enjoying the weather. Here's a question, and I think this is probably going to go to Jill. From Jane. And Jane says, my daughter is committed to IU and she has a pretty good idea of what she would like to study, but has some questions on how to best go about it, since it might not follow one specific degree path. And then she says in parentheses, graphic design with film production. When would she be able to meet with an advisor for advice, or how should she go about sort of planning her career if those are the things she wants to study?
Sure. So she'll be able to meet with an advisor when she during orientation. So when she registers for new student orientation, which if she has she's submitted her intent to enroll to IU, she'll have received her invitation to register for new student orientation on April 1st. So almost a whole week ago. So she can go ahead and set up that advising appointment, and that will happen at some point this summer, where she'll be able to talk with her advisor about everything that she's interested in, and her advisor will be able to help her make those choices class-wise. Then once she gets to campus, I definitely would encourage her to go to the Walter Center for Career Achievement, or to the Career Development Center, where she can talk with a career coach about everything that she's interested in. And at our Career Development Center, they're really interested in working with students in their freshman year so that they can really make the most of their 4 years at IU and combine multiple degrees. Just like we see with Tyra Rose, she's not just a theater major, although that would be great if she was, but Tyra Rose is a great example of a student who's made the most of their time at IU and has really gone in search of different departments and different interests, and combined those into a really unique program that fits her perfectly. And so between our academic advisors and our career advisors, she'll be on a great path to make the most of her time.
Fabulous. Jill, we'll keep them coming at you. Here's one more for you, and then we'll rotate around. Azar asks, is it possible to apply for scholarships without a FAFSA application? My son is not able to complete FAFSA because he doesn't have a social security number. He's a permanent resident.
Okay. There are some scholarships that are available to students without submitting a FAFSA. I would encourage you to reach out to our Office of Scholarships to see what's available for your student. Most scholarship deadlines have passed at IU for students entering fall 2021. But our Office of Scholarships would be happy to talk to you about what the opportunities are. Scholarships.indiana.edu or scholars@indiana.edu will be able to help you out.
Right. Thank you. And I'll toss it back to Tyra Rose. Again, this is another one from Instagram. Do you have any tips for things that I should definitely bring to my dorm room as a freshman? or I guess, and I'll add this, but I guess things to definitely not bring.
Oh, this is a good one. Yes, definitely bring a mattress topper. That his sleep is very important also. Definitely for freshman year, I just want to emphasize that, and like self-care. So make sure that you're like getting sleep because it's already an adjustment, and it'll help with your academics and studies. So yes, I know that was kind of random. Definitely bring there's when I was in your same position and figuring out what I needed for college, there's so many, like I went to Pinterest and even Google, they have like freshman lists that are things from laundry things that you don't want to forget, like hampers and things like that, all the way to like school supplies and then just things for luxury or personal items and things like that. I also would recommend like just for storage space. I know I like even overpack if I'm just going somewhere for a night. So having as much space in the dorms for me was ideal. And there are bed risers that I know a lot of me and my friends use in the dorms as well. It just gives you a little bit of extra storage space underneath your bed or however you want to use it if you're like me and you bring your entire life with you. So that's nice. Yeah, I can't think of, those were just two that really helped me as a freshman. I know that they may have not been what you're looking for, but if you don't have them on their list, it'll definitely help a lot. And like I said, going on looking up those freshman lists as well that have all the check marks.
And we'll drop a link to some of those lists in the comments here in just a second. And Tyra Rose, while you're still going, Larry had a question. He asked, are there opportunities to perform even if you're not a theater major? Can you still get involved in performances in some way?
Oh yes, definitely. There's so many opportunities in all kinds of performance, even if you're not a theater major. There's so many clubs and organizations. I'm actually the co-president of an organization, a theater troupe here, and we are open. We put on shows and plays that students want to see that the IU main stage isn't necessarily showing for that year. And it's open to all students. And we're not the only organization who does that. There's another organization called University Players. They're always casting and having auditions and putting on shows as well. And they get a really great turnout. And even throughout right now in virtual world, we're still having performances and things like that. And if you're not into acting, there's so many different dance companies that are, or dance teams. So if you, like to dance, some of those Crimson, Rockettes, and things like that, they perform even at the halftime shows of different athletic games and at different places. And yeah, there's so many opportunities for you to perform. One great way to know where know what all of those organizations are the student involvement fair that happens every year at the beginning of the year, where all the organizations come out and you'll get to see some of their like presidents and members, and they can answer all of your questions and tell them what you're about. It's a great event for freshmen to go to and anyone new to the campus so that you can be more involved.
Thank you. Yeah, and that student involvement fair really is, it's a lot of fun, and all of the student organizations come out and fill up the entire meadow, Den Meadow we call it here on campus, and you can just cruise around and check out lots and lots of organizations and score lots of free t-shirts from all of those organizations. So if you need to flesh out your wardrobe a little bit, that's always a good way to kind of kick things off if you're a freshman coming in. So thank you, Tyra Rose. Those were fabulous answers. This is a question from Kayo, I believe, maybe Kayo, I'm not quite sure on that, but and I think it might go to Jill, but the question is, does IU have a hotel for parents or family to stay at when we take our boy to school?
We do. The Biddle Hotel is located in Indiana Memorial Union. I know that they have been, and Sarah may have more clarification. I know that they've been housing students this year. But again, as we move towards closer to normal experience, that will be an option for families visiting. It does book up quickly for big weekends like Parents Weekend and Move-In Weekend, graduation weekend. So it's best to plan ahead, but there are a number of other great hotels in the community as well. And yeah, there will be a place for you to stay when you come to drop your student off.
Absolutely. Definitely not going to leave anybody hanging out in the cold. Let me see here. I had another one queued up that I was looking for. So let's see. Oh, sorry, got a little off here. Melissa asked about October break. She says the 2021 calendar online says that there will be no October break. And is that decision expected to change?
Yeah, so again, the Restart Committee is still looking at some of those academic calendar pieces to finalize that schedule. This spring, we did a series of wellness days, which were scattered throughout the semester. And so currently our Bloomington Faculty Council and our executive leadership are still finalizing what the schedule will look like. And so I would stay tuned and hope that we'll have that information out for folks in mid-May, hopefully.
Great, thank you. And this is another one that maybe goes to Sarah, probably, I'm guessing. And this has popped up a few times, but several people have asked about the date for Parents Weekend this year.
Yes, and I will need somebody to look at the football schedule. I can remember that the game involves Cincinnati, but I don't remember specifically which weekend it is in September. Sorry, my automatic recall is not quite what it should be, but it will be in that mid-September timeframe, and they are looking, again, as we're planning to get back to a more 19-20 academic year normal. They are planning and hoping to have that experience. What I will tell parents is don't feel like you have to come that weekend, or if you're from out of state and it's too much to travel and bring the whole family, don't worry. There are lots of other ways that you can connect with your student and learn about how their experience is going. Bloomington is beautiful and lovely in October, and you can take in some of the Brown County leaves and those sorts of things if you come an off weekend. Sometimes, at least for me, it's more fun to be here on the off weekends as opposed to the big football game weekends, because things are just a little less crowded, and you can do just a little bit more. So.
And while you were giving that great answer, found out that Family Weekend or Parents Weekend has been scheduled for September 17th through the 19th in fall of 2021. So there in middle September, you were spot on, right in the middle of September. So the 17th through the 19th, and let's see. Click over here and take a look at some of our Instagram questions. So have some questions about work study that came in. Really, what are the opportunities for work study, and how can students find out information about getting enrolled in work study and getting a work study job?
So, well, I will put in a plug for all of the places that we have for students to work within the residence halls. Most notably, our IU Dining Services is always looking for student staff, and bonus, you get extra meals as a part of your compensation. So you have your meal plan plus, which is great. We also have employment opportunities at our center desks, which help process mail and packages for students, answer questions about maintenance concerns or other kinds of things that may come up in day-to-day life in our buildings. So those are wonderful locations. We also have a number of libraries and programming spaces in our residence halls that have student staff. So it's a great advantage if you're looking to look in the place where you live. One of the great things about Indiana University is that all of our jobs are posted centrally on the IU Jobs website. So it's the same website that we use for our full-time staff hiring, but it offers all of the part-time temporary employee positions that are available as well. And Jill may have more information about this from the career development centers, but there's a jobs website through those offices.
Awesome. And while you're still going, Sarah, this has popped up several times too, questions about amenities in the dorms and where people can find out what might be included in which residence hall, and some of those things. Tyra Rose mentioned risers. That one has been mentioned several times, and things like that. So is there a place where we can direct people to kind of check out what their dorm amenities or residence hall amenities might be?
Sure. When you go to our RPS website and look under locations, that will give you some detailed information about each center on campus and the kinds of amenities to expect. In general, we have buildings that are what we call standard with air conditioning. So that's our most prevalent room type. They're your basic residence hall rooms, mostly doubles, fully furnished. So parents, don't let your students convince you that they need to bring the kitchen sink to campus. We really do have all they need already provided in the rooms. But of course, everyone will bring some extras. We do have a limited number of spaces that do not have air conditioning on campus. So that can be a little bit lower cost to not have the air conditioning, but it is for some survivable to not have air conditioning, generally only hot until mid-September, and then stays cool through until students leave in May. We then also offer a series of centers that are considered enhanced. And so generally what that means is that those locations have a different bathroom setup that allows for more privacy in the bathroom spaces for students. So it may be single rooms with a shared bathroom, or a bathroom that only 4 to 6 students use, as opposed to more open to the broad community.
Wonderful. And just real quick, because it's popped up in some other questions that we haven't actually gotten to, but is there a process for trying to select if you don't want a roommate, or to access one of those single rooms, somewhere we can send people?
Yes, in our housing application, students will identify for us if they are making a mutual roommate request, if they're open to being assigned a random roommate, or if they would prefer to be in a single room. And so students will make that choice. It doesn't count as one of your preferences, but it does let us know what that preference is that you have for those spaces. And we'll do everything that we can to honor that. If there are any special medical reasons why a student would want or prefer, need a single room, there is a spot in the housing application to check that you want to submit information about a special accommodation and a medical request. And those can be turned in and are processed as long as we have that supporting documentation.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. Jill, I wanted to circle back. I'm afraid I maybe cut you off a little bit, talking about work study jobs available.
Sure. So for students who are interested in part-time employment, including work study jobs, during the first, can't remember if it's the week before classes start, if it's the first week of classes, we do have a job fair. And there are 2 parts to the job fair. There's the work study jobs that are available. So if you have been awarded work study as part of your financial aid process, there's a specific part of the fair where it will only be work study jobs that are there. And then it will open up, and we'll have both on-campus and off-campus employers come for the open part of the job fair. So if you want to meet people in person, again, as we move back to normal, the jobs fair is a great place to find employment right away when you get to IU.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, the jobs fair, any of the fairs that have been mentioned are all a lot of fun and very helpful for finding useful contacts, jobs, ways to get involved, things like that. Tyra Rose, let's go back to you. And this one also came in from Instagram, but is, can you talk about some of your favorite things about being at IU and what it is that you really appreciate?
Oh my goodness, so many things. Yes. Um, as I said, I'm about to be a senior, but it feels like it has flown by. And part of that is just because of how great a campus IU really is. Throughout my time here, there's always been an event or activity I've that I've been able to go to. I've never really been bored here. There's so much to do. There's so many student organizations, even if they're ones that you're not a part of. There's events really happening every single day. Some, things that you want to get more educated about, some that you just want to go for fun because they're having cooking challenges and you want to eat the food. Like I said, I like eating. So, yes, there's been so many great things. Another thing that I really appreciate about IU is their willingness to allow you to really choose what degree path you want to go. I have some of my friends who have literally built their own degree. That's like another, and have done independent studies, and IU's really given them a lot of opportunities. And me as myself as well, being a double major, and being able to study multiple things and participate in everything that I'm passionate about. I've just had a lot of great opportunities here. I've been in a dance company, so I've got to travel through being a university student here as well. We went to New York and performed. So things like that will definitely always allow me to remember my experiences here, as well as meeting so many people from so many places internationally. Like Alaska was the very first person that I met at my student orientation, and that became like his nickname for our orientation. So that was fun, and we still talk to this day. So there's so many definitely great experiences, and I'm sad that my 4 years are coming to an end, but I'm very grateful in all the experiences that I've been able to have.
Awesome. Thank you. Makes me want to go back to college. Sarah, I think this one you can probably speak to some concerns about mold issues and what's being done to address any concerns around sort of environmental concerns.
Sure. So at Indiana University, we do take any maintenance concern very seriously, specifically around the issues of suspected fungal growth or mold, as students are often calling it. We do have a report form on our RPS website where students can submit that request. We have staff members from Environmental Health and Safety who are certified industrial hygienists who come out within 24 to 48 hours to investigate those situations and notify my staff and our colleagues in the facility operations area, maintenance, what we need to do to address those issues. So far this year, after all of the major renovations that we did during the 2019-20 year, we have had great luck in our buildings and have been able to keep those spaces clean and healthy for students. But we still every year get requests and investigate those quickly and thoroughly and address those concerns. There is a process in that if a student does need to be moved, that we will take care of and assist with that process. So strongly encourage students anytime they have a concern, start with your center desk and the full-time staff that are available there by your mailboxes, because they'll know right what the process is and how to help get that addressed as quickly as possible. Oh, Clayton, you're on mute, so We missed you.
Of course. Sorry about that. So this question is from CJ. How do the buses / transportation work on campus? And I don't know if Sarah, you want to take that one, or if Tyra Rose, you want to speak to that from sort of the student perspective.
Tyra may have the best knowledge based on student experience. So.
Yes, I can definitely answer that. Yeah, so we have two bus systems that we operate with on the Bloomington campus. So first is the campus bus route, and I believe it's like A through X. Either way, there's an app for everything. So there's an app for the campus bus schedule. So it'll let you know the times that it departs. It'll highlight in different colors each route and where they go. They take you anywhere you need to get on campus. And that app allows you to, it's very clear. I had never really written like the bus before coming here, and IU makes it really easy to understand. You can track it. If it's cold and you don't want to stand outside, you can see when it's going to be in front of wherever the bus stop is. And then there's also the Bloomington actual city bus system as well that students are able to get on for free. All you need is your Crimson card. Same with the campus bus as well. It's free to students. You can just show your Crimson card, or most of the times they don't ask for the campus, but going on the city, you will need to show your Crimson card, and it will take you to most places anywhere in Bloomington. So if you don't have a car, I didn't have a car my freshman year, but I was still able to get to the mall and things like that, go across town, any restaurants, or pretty much wherever you want to go. And there's an app for that, I believe, as well. Online, you can also look up, I believe it's the Bloomington Transit System, and it'll similar system to IU system that will show you each of the different chore routes, where they're going, and the times of like their departures and things like that. So yeah, very easy to use and also very helpful.
Yeah, and that being able to use your Crimson card to ride the city buses pretty much anywhere in town, that is huge. Even as staff, I sometimes take advantage of that. It's very convenient and super easy to move around. And I know we covered this before, but it just popped up again. And Sarah, can you mention again the ideas around freshman move-in days and what the situation is there?
Sure. So we know that classes will start on Monday, August 23rd. That part has been confirmed, but otherwise we are waiting for the campus restart committee and our executive policy group to finalize our restart plans for the academic year. We're anticipating that report will be ready for campus leaders in early May. And so hopefully by mid-May, we'll be able to announce final plans and ways that we are preparing to make sure that we know, do we need to de-densify our move-in process, and what will that look like? What will the needs for testing or vaccinations and that piece look like? So stay tuned to the IU website. Hopefully by mid-May, early June, we'll have all those answers.
Awesome. And I think maybe both Sarah and Tyra Rose can maybe take a shot at this one too. But Linda says, my son will be a sophomore in the fall, and he's been remote as a freshman pretty much all year, and hasn't made a lot of friends. Can you give some more information in terms of housing or other opportunities about how he would, have the best experience?
Sure. So from a housing perspective, we do still have some housing space available for returning students on campus. It is mostly in our furnished apartment communities, but certainly we would encourage students who did their first year remotely to look at and decide if they would want to live on campus and have that residential experience. We'd welcome that. I also know with my connection with our Dean of Students office that we are looking at the programs we offer, the services that we offer, connecting with the first year experience office to enhance programs so that it can also be during this COVID time a second year experience office, and how we can help students get connected and find that connection as they start again for this year.
And then Tyra Rose, I would kick it over to you for, I guess, suggestions or ideas on how, students can get out there and kind of find their people and get involved.
Yes, definitely. First off, going back to the student involvement fair that happens at the beginning of the year, it really is, if you attend, such a great time to meet a lot of people on campus. There's probably going to be organizations that you never would have thought would have existed. We even have a squirrel club here. There's like a Harry Potter club, anything that you can think of. So I'm sure you'll be able to find something. And then just piggybacking off of what you already heard from Sarah, if you do choose to live on campus, that's amazing as well, because there's always flyers and posters that are put up around those center desk areas and like common areas in the lobbies that have events that are always going on that you can attend. So that's great. So if you're just on the lookout for those, you'll always find something. And even if you choose to live off campus as well, most of the apartment complexes do house a lot of IU students. I live off campus currently. Most of my neighbors were all IU students. So the apartment complexes do a really great job of staying in touch with the campus and also sending us alerts and having events of their own and activities of their own where you'll also be able to meet a lot of students. They send out their newsletters weekly, just as IU does. So also checking your email as an IU student is very important. I probably check my email more than I check my texts these days because there's always important information that you can get. So those are also always have events that are going on. So yeah, just be on the lookout for all those information, and I'm sure that you'll be able to find something that interests you.
Wonderful, thank you. And I think it's also worth noting that we didn't have this past September, because of the way that the world was, didn't actually have our student involvement fair in person the way that, like so many other things like we would normally do or hope to be able to do. And it was entirely virtual this year. So hoping, for September that, that can maybe be something that we're able to return to when we start to get a little bit more back to normal. So getting close to wrapping things up here. Sarah, I think this one might be for you. Any word on North Residence Hall, and is it going to be ready for freshmen in the fall?
Yes, great question. And it has a name now. So it's actually going to be Walnut Grove Residence Center. We are super excited about that. Getting our full-time staff in place, and construction is moving along at a great pace. So yes, we are looking forward to welcoming the new students who are going to get to live there and build that community and be a part of creating those new traditions at IU. It's going to be really exciting.
Very cool. And nice reveal on the name there. I like that. This is also something, Sarah, since we've got you talking, that has popped up a little bit too. It's about the random selection for roommates. And the question is there any type of questionnaire or profile considered in the random assigning of roommates? Or is it just based on the cost category and neighborhood preference?
Yeah, so when I used to work in our assignments office, I said random does mean random. So at Indiana University, if you choose to go potluck and just accept any roommate, it is open. We don't ask questions about, do you want a roommate who snores or doesn't snore, or a roommate who likes a particular kind of music. The joy of the process is that it could be anyone. And in that it could be anyone means, surprisingly enough, that we often have students from some of our larger communities that might wind up with a roommate who's from the high school next door, or we've even had some folks that are like, hey, they go to the same school that I do. I sort of know them. It's like, well, that's how random works. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get someone from across the country. Doesn't necessarily mean that if you're an out-of-state student, you'll get an Indiana resident. It is purely random. I do recommend, and Jill mentioned earlier, the Wiser community platform. If you'd like a little bit more control and want to go into that Wiser app and talk with folks and find a roommate there, you're more than welcome to do that, but certainly not required to. My experience with all my years at Indiana University is that it's mostly the mutually selected roommates that have trouble learning how to communicate with one another and navigating that year of being roommates. Our randomly selected roommates generally, by and large, are successful matches.
Wonderful. Couple of more questions from our Instagram sticker. I think Sarah, maybe you fielded this one, but in terms of dining halls, there's a question about are meals served on Sundays in dining halls, and are there vegan and or gluten-free options in the dining halls?
Yes, so our dining halls are open all the time. And not every residence hall is open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, but we do have close to 28 residential dining facilities, both in the residence halls and in the academic areas on campus. So lots of places to eat with lots of hours of availability. And that does include those Sunday night dinners that didn't used to be served way back when I was a student. Yes, lots of vegan, vegetarian friendly meals, good options for students who are gluten-free. What I would recommend is if you do have a specialty diet that you are following, you might want to connect with the IU Dining dietitian staff and connect with them on the best places and ways to find the food that you're interested in. They also do insider one-on-one tours and conversations with our chefs so that you can get to meet the people who are responsible for our menus and learn about what you can take from what they're preparing to make for yourself to fit your dietary needs. They also talk with students who have nut allergies, diabetes, any of those kinds of special diets. They'd be happy to help.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Tyra Rose, do you have any favorites or recommendations for either on-campus dining or just nearby in Bloomington?
So many favorites. Yes, I'm a little biased. I lived in the Southeast neighborhood, so I was here when Forest was like the brand new dining hall. So I love Forest on campus. Yes, a lot of great options. I love their smoothies. So if you like that, they have great burgers there, pasta. They kind of have it all, sandwiches and club sandwiches, and they have like a Starbucks in there, so that's amazing too. There's an actual Starbucks also in the IMU, which is a favorite. The library, Wells, has amazing food, great paninis, soups, Mediterranean salads as well. And I also love Gresham, which is right by Foster. So that's on the other side of campus. So kind of there's great options everywhere on campus. They have a Denny's in there called the Den, and lots of options as well. And then off campus, there's so many Bloomington favorites. Mother Bear's Pizza, if you haven't already heard of it, is a Bloomington favorite. You have to try it. Yeah, Buffalo's great for wings. They're known all over the place for having a lot of famous visitors come in and stop by. So yeah, but there's so many places. So those are just a few of them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyra Rose. Jill, real quick, we had a couple of questions about virtual visits and campus visits. Can you speak to those two things?
So we are offering virtual visits every week for both prospective and admitted students. For admitted students, we do have a couple more admitted student events. And if you haven't attended an admitted student event, it's just your chance to learn more from RPS, from our Office of First Year Experience, as well as admissions and even academic departments. And so please check out one of our admitted student events. Again, they're all virtual this year. We have a great student panel as well during that, so you can hear more from students like Tyra Rose, and maybe even Tyra Rose specifically during those events. And then we are offering very limited in-person campus tours right now. I think we're close to capacity for the rest of the month though. Tyra Rose, you're nodding like, I think we might be. But we do have a guided or a self-guided walking tour that's available, as well as a driving tour. And there are links for both of those on our website. If you can't get in for one of our campus tours, they are our in-person campus tours right now are only for admitted students because they are so limited. But if you can't get a campus tour and still find yourself walking on campus, please do stop into our Admissions Welcome Center in Ernie Pyle Hall. And we have a welcome packet for you that we'd love to give you during your time with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. And yep, can't beat a beautiful stroll around campus pretty much any time of the day or year. So if you can't make one of those guided tours and you want to still get a taste of what campus is like, you can certainly check it out. It is, as we mentioned before, absolutely beautiful today. Thank you to everyone who tuned in to this live stream. We are at time, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much to Sarah Ivy Lucas, Tyra Rose, and to Jill for joining us. I think this was a great discussion. If you are a viewer and you didn't have your question answered, or if you tuned in late, make sure you scroll through the comments. We have posted a lot of links to really useful sites that you can check out and get almost all of your questions answered that way. And if not, you can send a direct message to the Indiana University Facebook page, and someone on my team will be happy to get back to you or direct you to the correct people to help you